Welcome, everyone. We are live. It's dark, not pitch black, but like dusk, like the sun has gone down and evening has set in. That's exactly what it looks like. Are you, depending on where you are in the world, if you're in Barbados, you get 12 hours of sunlight every day, all day. But here we have this seasonal change. And if you watch it, it's gradually happening. Every day it gets a little bit darker in the morning, just a little. But if you pay attention, you'll see it. Yeah? It is actually quite lovely. But this glorious morning, choose life. See, choose life. Why? What does it mean to choose life, though? What does it mean to choose life? You choose the things that add to you. There are some things that we do in our lives, and you know as well as you that that's not really adding to your life. It's really it's really drawing from your life and leaves you feeling a particular way. So how do you discern between I got to push through this and just go with it, or well, this just is not what is working for me? Well, that's on you. You see, you have different goals and things to accomplish and ambitions. You know what you want to do. But if you check the state, if you check the mental state, the mental mood that you are in, you will clearly identify what is helpful and what is harmful. If you check your mental state, your mental attitude, your mental mood, you will clearly discern what is helpful and what is not. Because remember, you will act according to your mental mood. So, how are you acting? See, when you know the mental mood, you can make a beautiful choice because you will see what you're doing and you will know what it is that you want to do instead. And then you will make that change internally to change your mood. You see, we don't give ourselves enough time because I was in a hurry. But if you slow down and check your mental mood, you will know what decisions to make because you will remember it is the mental mood that dictates your behavior. And if you're looking at a particular behavior, a habitual behavior, you do it the same way every time. If you're looking at that and you say, I don't like that behavior, well, the behavior is only the outward expression of the inner mood. And I know sometimes people think I'm making it up, but watch yourself and you will see. When you get into a mood, that is how you will behave. You see, you're always supposed to test yourself. But what does she mean by mood? Exactly what it says. A mood. You know how you ask someone, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What's the next thing you ask? What are you in the mood for? So you eat according to the mood. Hmm? Hmm? You see, we behave according to our moods because the mood is not there randomly. The mood is there as a result of your thinking. So if you have a particular way that you think all the time, your habitual way, Neville Goddard calls it your home state, so your home mental state that you always return to. He says when you do that, well, you'll know. what your behavior is going to be like. And that's why I really enjoyed the lecture last night. Oh. He said, if I say God to you, if I say Jesus to you, you may take offense. But if I say imagination, then you begin to realize that we all imagine, do we not? But there'll come a point in your life when you will recognize that imagination is God. And if you are the one imagining, well, then, but we might not be ready. But if you hear the word God or you hear the word Jesus and you just clamp yourself closed, you rob yourself of learning. Learning brings life. When you learn, depending on your personality, you will either act out what you learned or you will remain as you are. So choose life. And you will know what you're choosing based upon your mental mood. If the behavior is dictated by the mental mood, your choice that you make will also be dependent upon your mental mood. So if you're looking at your life, don't judge it. Choose life. You look at the situation, you look at your behavior, and you say, I don't like that. So do you change the behavior or do you change the mental mood? If you change the behavior, you're working from the exterior. Things don't originate on the exterior. Life starts within. So you look to your mood. Look at the thing you're doing, and you'll be able to discern the mood that you're in. When you discern the mood that you're in, now decide what mood would I like. And when you select a new mood, you will do a new behavior. That is what you call choosing life. The knowledge of, wait a minute, I don't have to force, fight, and struggle. I just got to flip the mood. Yes, that's where the work is. The work is mental. We always say, oh man, I got to get my mind right. I was reading a post by Naomi Osaka this morning, and she says she's been playing tennis since she was 3, but for some reason she feels different now. She feels outside of her body. Remember, she just had a baby, right? So the mood is different. Being out on the court before she was a mother is completely different from being on the court as a mother. The mood as to why you play is different. See? Why she plays is different now. Because her life experience has changed. So everything changes to match that. So now, what do you hear? You got to get your mind in the game. You got to get your mind right. Why is it that we are so quick to say that? Get your mind right. But when I tell you that that's the only thing you can do, and here's how you get your mind right, you'd say, well, man, that's just so new age. Scripture says to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Even if you did not know what the definition of transform was. Trans is to cross, to change. Form, change form. But how change form? What are you changing the form of? Your mind. The only way to change form of the mind is to change how you think, how you perceive, how you see things, how you interpret information. That is to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your perceptions. Scripture clearly says it. Yet, we are so focused on thinking one way only. So how do you test yourself? Because this is part of choosing life, right? Recognizing what you're doing and changing your mental state, your mental mood. I hear a lot about things like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Those are effects. They are effects. What is the cause? What would cause you to be totally exaggerative, or if that's a word, really big manic one day or for a couple days, and then for the other days you're ho hum manic depressive? They just changed the name to bipolar. But I want you to listen to the word bipolar. Sound familiar? It is the law of polarity. So what is causing you, because everything moves, yes, nothing stands still, what is causing you to move from one extreme to the other? That is what is to be addressed. And it is a way of thinking. Simple as that. What are you thinking? Because that's what causes us to act. The thing that we feel when we think it is what causes us to act. Now, schizophrenia, I have to look more into that, because I have to say, I don't want to look at it from the sense of the medical books. I want to see it from the law perspective. What's happening? Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, and gender. I want to see what's happening in that spectrum, what's going on, which will help me to understand what it is. But it is an effect. And so if you notice, we try to suppress effects. Life happens from the inside out. So if you try to suppress an effect, you're fighting a shadow. What is the cause? That you have to look within. What is the cause? You have to look within. This is how you choose life, by recognizing that you are the operant power. You're the cause, not in a judgmental kind of way. I told you, if you know that you are the cause of your experiences, you are now the one with all of the power. All the balls are in your court. Because now you know, hey, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. But if you give away that inner power to an external thing, well, now you're at the mercy of the external thing. You have to wait for the external thing, and that will dictate your mood. But it's not supposed to be that way. The internal influences the external. As within, so without. Every seed after its own kind. So choosing life means you observe yourself. What are you doing? What are you saying? How are you saying it? How does it make you feel when you say it and think it? All you're doing there is examining the self. And when you examine the self, now you get a sense of, what have I conditioned this self to do? And if you look at it, you say, I like it. Well, I'm going to keep this. Or, oh, I don't like that. Let me swap that out. What are you going to swap? Your perception. So for instance, we have relationships in our lives, yes? If you want this relationship to change, what are you presently doing? Most of us don't know that. Most of us just go through the motions and allow the mood to dictate the behavior. But where do we do that from? old memories, old thought processes, old thoughts, because it is always mental that brings about the external experience. So if you want this relationship to change, what are you presently doing in it? You must acknowledge that. Because when you can look and see what you are doing, now you can make a choice. You can choose to carry on. Because if you're like me, you're stubborn, right? Determined. That's the word. Determined, not stubborn. Determined. If you're like me, you're determined. I can do this. I can make this work. And you dig your heels in. But what if you saw what you were doing and you said, wait, I don't like the way I behave. You noticed you've just pulled everything back right inside yourself. Instead of saying, I can't stand how this person behaves. They really get on my nerves. You're looking on the outside. And if you look on the outside, you will fight the shadow on the outside. But the shadow has a face. Your partner in the relationship. So now you're fighting the partner. When in actuality, it's the mindset you're trying to grasp. So you see how we fight and argue needlessly? Because we're looking for something on the outside to say, well, it's your fault. Wait, what now? It is nobody's fault. There is no blame. There is simply, what action are you doing? So when you choose life, you also stop judging. Judging siphons your life off of you. When I say siphon, you pretty much will know what I mean. It sips your life away from you. It weakens you. Judging. Oh, I should be like this person, or my life would be better if I was like them, or that's not choosing life at all. Not in the least bit. So don't judge yourself. You made a mistake, okay, and which one of us does not? How do you think we learn what we are doing? By making the mistake, the missed attempt, the missed action. This is how we learn. It is a learning process. That's what a mistake is. You're just learning. So don't judge yourself. Oh, but Angela, I make the same mistake over and over again. And get up and observe now. And the only reason why you keep making the same mistake the same way every time is because it is a reflection on the thought. You are having the same thought the same way every time. So as within, so without. So then you stop and you recognize that you can fix any quote unquote problem that you may have. But you do not fix things by pretending they do not exist. One cannot lie to themselves. There's a difference between lying to yourself and persuading yourself. Let's look at it. When you're lying to yourself, well, I know that I'm a total heifer and I will argue and cuss at the drop of a hat. I can go from zero to cow in 60 seconds and I'll just let you have it. I know that's me. But you know what? Whatever, deal with it. You know that you're the cause of the arguments in your world. But yet, all you say is, they can deal with it. This is who I am. But on the inside of you, you get a feeling that says, I don't like this. But it's the only thing I know how to do, and I'm scared to relinquish it. I tell you, if you examine yourself, you will see that you're just afraid. And it is natural to be afraid to do something you've never done. Because we like to do the familiar. How do I know? Because of the law of rhythm. We like our habits. We even go so far as to call humanity what? Creatures of habit. We love a habit. Habits make us feel secure and safe. So when you're out getting outside now to say, Oh, I've never done this before. All you're saying is, I don't have this as a habit. And I'm scared because I don't know if it will work out. But you see, when you acknowledge the thing that you're doing, and you are honest and you say, I don't like that. I don't like that I do that. That's fine. That's the first step to healing it. It's the most important step there is. The acknowledgement of the problem. Acknowledging your problem does not make you weak. It doesn't make you a coward. It doesn't make you a loser. That's not what it does. It makes you strong. Why? Because you're recognizing that as within, so without. This is the way I think, then this is the way I will continue to behave. That's what you see how powerful you are when you recognize that? I got the power. Yeah, that's how powerful you are when you acknowledge your problem. And when you acknowledge the problem, you can look at it and say, oh, so I don't want to do that, but I want to do this. And the moment you acknowledge the new thing that you want to do, you get a little bit of a, ooh, this is exciting though. I'm still a little scared, but I'm excited. And when you get excited about that thing, you start to see all of the ways that it changes your life and makes your life better. And so what do? You start to entertain that new way. And you see it for yourself and you feel it. And then, dun, 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 you start doing it. But it comes when you acknowledge. Oh my God, I really can't stand them. I just argue with them all the time. I can't be bothered with them. Like, why are they even in my life? You see that part? But then you might stop and ask yourself, why am I so cranky? Why do I always have to argue? See? And when you ask yourself, why am I always arguing? You'll start to see why. Oh, you know what you're doing when you ask yourself that question? You are choosing life. Because you're looking at something that you deem now unworthy. It's not good enough anymore for me to act this way. So now you're choosing life because you're saying that way will not do. Because I'm tired of always arguing, of always having to defend myself. I'm so tired of that. See? And then you say, well, what do I want? Well, obviously you want peace. And the moment you acknowledge that you want peace, oh, you have identified the feeling of peace in your body. And you start to feel peaceful. Seriously, because if you start to, oh my God, I can't stand this. What happens? The feeling of anxiety, the feeling of agitation. Because you're entertaining the thoughts. So if you entertain the thoughts of peace, well, then obviously you have to feel peace. Because that is the natural thing that happens. As within, so without. Every cause has its effect and every effect is cause. So you see, at every moment that we go through the day, we choose life. Life contains no judgment in it. This is the part that some of us get stuck upon. Yeah, but if I was this, if I was that, I'd be better. Really? Really? That's what we're going to do? Instead of, oh my God, I would be. What do I want to be? What do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? And you get a sense of it. You say, yeah, you know what that is? That is much better, isn't it? And that is how you've chosen life. But you have to give yourself the opportunity to feel it. Because you clearly know what death feels like. You know when you're ready to just throw down the gauntlet and let the fist fly. You know what you're feeling like when you're just going to cuss somebody out. You know exactly what you feel like. But if you take your time and give yourself the opportunity to taste what that feels like and decide, you can change it. And we call that Emotional intelligence. Fancy words, hey? Fancy words for the law. And all you're doing in that situation is, I can feel this vibration and I don't like it. I don't like the way I'm moving. So if I don't like the way I'm moving, what is causing me to move? As within, so without. What is that thought that I am aware of? Now you're back at mentalism. So then you change what you are presently aware of being. You say, oh my God, I am so argumentative. You're fully aware of that. So if you're aware of being argumentative, that is the mental mood you now occupy, always arguing in your head. Thus, you must always argue on the outside. Round the outside, round the outside. I'm sorry. You know me. Some of these words sometimes will bring us on, but I digress. So do you see how at every opportunity you can choose life? You have this power. But listen, I was in a room on Clubhouse yesterday. Because they wanted to know who God is and who Jesus is. And everybody's got their Bible out. And some people say, I don't believe in a God. And you know, I had to get me a piece of that. So it was like, I'm listening to what people are saying. And I'm like, I can tell that mood. That mood is hurt. You've been hurt by the church. Because we have this perception of what God is. And every time you hear God, you cringe on the inside because of a previous memory. So that you all these people in this room, somebody is agnostic, somebody's atheist, somebody is this, somebody is that. And when you say you are God, brakes go on. They will claim everything else that they could possibly be, except for the one thing that they truly are. And the reason why they have a hard time dealing with it is because now you would have to take responsibility for your actions in the world. If you say, I am God, you see, we get this thing because we have an image of God, right? Jealous, quick to anger and punish you. We have that image of God. So when you hear I am God, you're like, but wait, I can't build Saturn. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't be God. God is the awareness of oneself. That's all God is. Awareness of oneself, one's existence. And from your awareness, you take the formless and give it form. So to test this for yourself, to test for yourself what you are. See, because that's what I marveled at yesterday in that room on Clubhouse. Everybody was quick to tell you what they were, but nobody wanted to hear that they were God. Because if you know that you're God when you look in the mirror and that there's only one God, and you see the face of your neighbor and they're God, how are you going to mistreat your neighbor? So if you put God on the outside, you absolve yourself of responsibility so that you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to let that rest there for a minute. When you put God outside of yourself, you now absolve yourself of the responsibility. Oh, here we go. Good morning, handsome. So think about it. When you are responsible for your thoughts and your mood and how you behave, do you know you will check yourself? You'll check yourself because you'll find that if you want to act a fool, you're like, I don't know. Maybe, oh, Lord, child, you need some water. You need a little horse. You don't want to do something, right? Because you're like, if I do this, that's going to happen. Because you'll know that every cause has its effects and every effect has its cause. You'll know that. because you're God. You've gone from believing in God to believing as God, right? But if you believe in God, you have no responsibility. You can do what you want. You can say what you want. You can treat people as anyhow you want. Because why? God will take care of it. That's what we say. This is how this is what we say to ourselves. So today, if you say I am God, there's that little thing you feel in your belly when you say ooh. But what if I say I am God and the real God just says, are you now? There's a lightning bolt for you. Take that if you're God. But what if you accept the responsibility of being God? It is quite a responsibility, isn't it? Hmm? To not mistreat others, to not... Do you know what I'm saying? Look at all the things. Because that was another room on Clubhouse. The question was, why does God allow violence? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, first of all, nobody can see God, allegedly, right? Last night's lecture, you don't behold God. Not yet, but you experience him. Okay? So they're saying, why would God allow this? He must not be very nice. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, but that's because you don't know who God is. If you knew who God was, then you would not perpetuate the violence. You wouldn't do the violence. You would choose life. So what I'm saying to you today, I'm not here to tell you God is real, God is not real. That's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you to test yourself. What formless thing can you take and give it form? What can you go from within and give life to on the outside? Deliberately, what can you do? Can you do it? See? Everybody's just afraid of offending God by claiming to be God. It's not like God is the Queen or King Charles. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. There's a difference. I can't walk around saying, I am King Charles. Kiss my ring, heifer. I can't walk around saying, because I'm not King George. I am, but I am not. If you know what I'm saying. There's only one. If I said I was King George, they would find that offensive. How dare you? Right? Because we're looking at it in terms of something outside of the self. But if you recognize that you are King George, because there's only one thing, it doesn't matter how many rituals anybody does. It doesn't matter how many rituals somebody does. When you do a ritual, you take the life that you are and you imbue life upon the thing outside of yourself. You give it life. And because you give it life, now it has to live and do what you commissioned it to do. That is what a ritual is. It's not that the ritual doesn't work. The ritual will work because you put life into it. So if you put life into the ritual and it works, can you not circumvent the ritual? Because you are the life in the first place, are you not? So you see, there is only ever life really to choose from. So I'm telling you how to fix things. I'm telling you, use the principles. What are you aware of being? You don't know. Well, what do you say? You say, I am, and then what? Then you name what you are aware of because that's what you say you are. Oh, I am happy, or I am sad. I am... Whatever you want to say after I am is what you have now said you are aware of being. And because you are aware of being it, you must do it. Mm? So you see, as within, so without. Life always emerges from within. Always. And it is, I marvel at how we can sit and, because let me tell you something. That room was fire. Such great thoughts I had to contemplate from being in that space. You know, when you begin to sit and contemplate these things, we argue over information that we don't know. But the one information that we do know, we don't accept it. Well, how do you know? Look around. Whether you believe in God or believe as God, the laws apply. You decide what you want to plant in your garden because you decided what you wanted to eat, what you would be in the mood for. So you planted your favorite things so that you can can them and do whatever and preserve and whatever. That's why you planted. You didn't just plant seeds. You thought about what you wanted and then you chose the seed to plant. That's what you did. So you see, you must always be aware of yourself first because it is the self that chooses. So when you choose the self and decide what seed you want to plant, you choose the seed so you can reap the identical harvest. Why? Because we're moving through the seasons. And you've got to plant so that you can harvest by fall or not. Fall and winter will come and your harvest will not have ripened. Because you're moving from seed to fruit. And now that you've moved from seed to fruit, you can tell how long that thing is going to take to go from seed to fruit, the rhythm. And once you know that, you will do something. You will start to plan how you will preserve what it is you planted and your harvest. Now, why will you plan? Because you decided what seed to plant and you put it into the womb of the earth. So now, if you look at what you do in the garden and take it up a notch, as above, so below, what are you doing mentally? What seed are you planting mentally? And how do you know you're nurturing that seed? Because you're always contemplating it. It is always at the forefront of your mind. So you are watering it and just making sure it gets enough of your attention, which is sunlight and water. See? The same thing you're doing on the earth, you're doing in the heavens. Where? In your mind's eye. So why is it so hard to believe that you are the one planting the seeds in your life, thus reaping the experience of the harvest? Why do you look at that and say, if God wills? Who willed the garden into existence? The person who sat down and thought about, I really would love some peaches this year. Let me start planting a peach tree. And you go to the greenhouse and you get a certain mature peach tree and you plant it. And sometimes when you plant it, depending on how long they've had it growing for, it may bloom that year for you, right? So you see, whose will was it? It was my will. If you read the scripture, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as above, so below. So your will, when you do it here, you didn't do it here first. You did it here second as a result of what you did in your mind's eye. But we keep looking for something on the outside. You want to create a beautiful tapestry? The idea is birthed in your mind first and foremost. That is the seed. And so once you've planted that seed of what your tapestry should look like, what do you think you'll do next? Well, you're going to take a ride down to Fabric Land and get whatever materials you need to bring it to life, as within, so without. But you see, we are so quick to name ourselves everything but the one thing that we truly are because we are afraid. Well, I'm going to take my chances. For those of you who say, yeah, but what if God takes offense? Well, let me tell you a little something. If you have a child or you have nieces and nephews and they say, I want to be just like you. Now, if you are gracious and compassionate and empathetic and loving, well, you would want that, wouldn't you? Because how flattering. Oh my God, you want to be just like me? Amazing. But if you are the devil incarnate himself and you stomp on everybody and everything, oh, is that what you want for them? Well, you might. But what the point I'm trying to convey to you is, if you want to put God on the outside, and I say to myself, well, I want to be just like God, so I'm going to call myself God so that I can behave like I am God. And I will love my neighbor as myself, and I will do all the things that God does. Because God is awesome. Now, you logically, if you think about this, if you examine it, God's going to say to me, well, you want to be like me, huh? Well, let me see what you got. Let me see how you can do it. What kind of God is that? And would you want to be like it? That is going to punish you for imitating what he says is the greatest? So it doesn't matter which way we want to look at this situation. The highest ideal that we can attain to is gracious, compassionate. So the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. Are those not the attributes of the Spirit? But remember what an attribute is. An attribute is the effect. God is not an attribute. He's the cause. So today, my beautiful friends, taste your words, choose life. We out here in these streets talking about I'm atheist, I'm agnostic, I'm blah, blah, blah. But I say I am God. Do you not realize the responsibility that comes with? Now I gotta love everybody, including the one who's the most unlovable. You know, because you got one in your life. You might have 2, 3 in your life. Oh man, I don't want to be God, and it's too much work. See what we do? And it is only from fear. Yeah, but the Bible says, I get what the Bible says. I'm not here to argue the Bible. I'm not here to debate the Bible. I'm here to show you, look at what you're doing on the outside, and you will see that it is a reflection of what you are doing on the inside. That is where your business and your concern should be. Well, it's called living. So take your time today to examine what you want to be in the world and what you're doing in the world, so that you don't judge yourself and go, oh my God, my sister would have done it so much better. Well, that's nice. Good for her. But what are you going to do? Are you going to do it the best of your ability? I'd like to see that. And you rub your hands together and you go, yes, how much better can I be today? And you, the moment you ask that question, something begins to unfold within you and gives you the answer. How much better can I be today? How much more loving can I be today? Funny thing, you've got to feel the love. And when you feel it, that means you are it. And because you are it, you must do it. Just a little robin redbreast. Oh, I saw God. I see you. Not because I'm crazy. I'm trying to tell you this is what is happening. You see that little teeny tiny robin redbreast? Oh, there are two. Oh, come on. This would be so poetic if there was one more. Three little birds beside my window. And all of it, when they sing their song, that cacophony would be the choirs of heaven itself. But we go out into the world and we cut down every tree. Really? We need all of them? Look around you today. Choose to look at life-giving things. And if you don't see life, then infuse your surroundings with yours. How do you do that? Speak life into your surroundings. I know somebody allegedly said, "Let there be light," and there was. Well, let there be life, and there will be. Why? Because we have the ability to call those things that are not as though they were, and they become. That's what we do. So the encouragement for us today, my beautiful friends, is to choose life. Recognize what you are doing. And then choose, is this good enough for me? Do I like the way this makes me feel? No. Well, then what would I prefer? And then you begin to contemplate and entertain those thoughts. And those thoughts will naturally move you into action. Because everything moves from within to the outside. Look at the principles. Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. So as within, so without, as above, so below. As within the self, so must you see on the outside. Why? Because it has to move from within to the outside. And it moves by way of a swing of a pendulum. You're moving from where you are to where you're going in the law of polarity. Not opposite. You're not moving in the opposite. You are moving in the same nature. You have to move in the same nature. Every seed grows after its own kind. So this is why hot and cold are temperature. That is their kind. Hot, warm, cold, cold, warm, hot. Pendulum. You're moving. So only one thing is moving. Temperature. And when you move from where you are to where you're going, that thing, because every seed moves after its own kind, it has a particular rhythm, an ebb and a flow, a pattern. And when it moves in that pattern, it brings about every cause has its effect, but every effect has its cause. So the way that it unfolds causes you to behave in the only way that you can, which brings about the only effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. Why now? Because you thought, and that thought that you had did not remain in your mind. You projected it. Masculine is to project. You projected that thought outward into the womb of life. And what happened? I love the way Neville said it last night. He said that inner being within you pulls every wire to bring about the fruition or formation of your assumption. So that would be feminine. All necessary components to come together to knit your offspring. Which is what? What you identified yourself as. You see, you identified yourself as it invisibly. It is formless and shapeless. When you say I am, that has no form and shape. But in order for you to see what you are, you must do it on the outside so that you can say, aha, I am that. I am. So you see, we're always moving from formless to form over and over again because this is where we are. So today, my beautiful friends, choose life. It is so intriguing. They are still sitting on the branches outside. It is so pretty. So choose life. Choose life. If you choose life, life is a seed. It unfolds in the only way life can, cause and effect. Yes? Correspondence as within, so without. You choose death. Well, that can only unfold in the only way that it can. Everything after its own kind. So whatever choice you make, you will experience all of the things that go along with the seed that you have planted. That's why you have to accept the thorn when you plant the roses. Everything after its own kind. So you see, my beautiful friends. Oh my God, I'd be late for work again today. Shoot. I get so caught up. Let us take a moment. Wealthy Supreme Rico, hey. Miss Asanya. Hey, Hilarion. Wisdom Almighty. Mercedes is in the house. I see you, beautiful. It's been a while, stranger. And for the others who've not made themselves known here on YouTube and Facebook, I see you. Twitter, Miss Tiffany. Hopefully, and Javion. Symmetric. Beloved Love Troll. Hello, dearest. It is so good to see you. Truly, it is. Thank you for being here. Fan base. Who's in fan base today? Remy. Hello. Oh, look. Remy came in. Remy popped in and popped out. Miss Deborah is in the house. Hey, CM. Shay Butter is in the house. Ashley. Welcome. Miss Fawn. Oracle Treehouse. Flo Smiles. Miss McQueen. And of course, our lovely young man. Hey, little bit. He's in the closet. Because if he wasn't, well, it'd be much louder than it is. But he's in the closet. He's got room in there. It's a walk-in closet. So don't you be calling Peter. So welcome, everyone. And thank you for being here on this glorious Wednesday. Oh my God. Oracle, remember I told you my phone's time was behind?
Yes.
Now it's 6:35 on all three Apple devices. I wonder what that's about.
It might be an internet thing because I think all of these like electronic devices are synchronized by like internet. Like if you notice, you don't really need to set anything when it comes to these computers, be it an iPhone, an Android, or a computer. They get the time from some central location via the internet. So maybe that's why. It's just a theory of mine.
But it's very trippy because it was the first thing I noticed. It was the very first thing I noticed before I got online this morning because they all have the same time. But my phone that I'm streaming Fanbase on was 1 minute behind. But as soon as I noticed the time was 6:33 on my iPad and my old phone, I looked at the regular phone and it was now in sync with all of them. There aren't any coincidences anywhere ever. So I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention, really, I am. So choose life today. That may seem like a deviation, but no, that stuck out to me because it was glaringly obvious. And now it is glaringly obvious again that they are on the same time. Don't mess with me.
I know, right? So, I'm paying attention. I'm fully aware.
Yes. Yes. So, what else can you notice today about your own self? See? Hmm. Hmm. Right? It is. Hmm. Take your time. Assess yourself. We keep thinking we've got to prove God's existence. We don't have to prove God's existence. You are the evidence. You are the evidence. I am because God is. I cannot be without God. And in that room yesterday on Clubhouse, this guy said, I think, therefore I am. But listen to it again. I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. Do you understand that? I think. The moment you recognize that you are thinking, now you become aware that you exist. That's why you can say, I think. Well, therefore, I am. Do you notice the difference now? I think. Because what did you do? You just came across the fact that, oh my God, I'm thinking. So if you're thinking, you must exist. And because you exist, you say, I am. The way this is why narration is such an interesting thing. Punctuation matters. I am that. I am. I am that. And then the revelation is, I am. I am that. But the way we read it in the Bible, oh, I am that. I am. No. When you say I am, you are aware of something. And what you say after that is what you are aware of being. So when you say I think, well, then I must be if I think. I must exist if I think. Because that's the thing that humanity's been given, the ability to think and the ability to speak. So when you say I think, well, then therefore I exist. I think, therefore I am here. I think, therefore I am. And now you can condition the self to be, because remember, the self is formless and shapeless. You can now condition the self to be that, or that, or that. So I think, therefore, I am. It is a revelation when you say I am. It is how you know that you are. God. So I think, well, therefore, I am. So when you start to recognize that you are thinking, who's thinking? You're watching yourself think. So who's watching yourself think? I am. I am. You see how now when scientists or psychiatrists or psychologists tell you, you are the observer, what do you think that means? The observer is the one who notices that you are thinking. And because you cannot separate the two of them, because there's only one. There's only one. You can't separate the thinker from what it is thinking, because the thinker is the one that gives life to the thought. Ah, oh, sweet Jesus. And because when you give life to the thought, you become it. This is why William Blake can say, man becomes what he contemplates. You are the one imbuing life. So when you hear that you're imbuing life into something, who else does that? Oh, yeah, that's right. God does. Okay, then. But like I said, I'm not here to argue or debate about who and what God is. You just have to come to the acceptance that God is within you and not outside. But that can be scary. And I understand. To take responsibility fully for yourself. Because now, what you gonna say? You did this to me. This is your fault. Ain't nobody you can say that to. You can only look in the mirror and go, oh, snap. I am that, aren't I? Shoot. Well, if I can be that, I can be this. You can deal with this, so you can deal with that. You can deal with this, so you. Sorry. Right? Hey, viewing pleasure. But listen, I did prattle on. Let us get the bowl because clearly you have bird song. And as you hear the bowl, I encourage you. I think, therefore, I am. Come to the realization that I am. Neville says first person, present tense. I can only ever refer to somebody else as you are, but I can only refer to the self as I. I am. I am. Say it over and over to yourself. I am. I am? Yes. Really? I am? I am? And the more you say it, oh, the better man just popped in. Well, howdy, partner. It's been a long time. But when you start asking the question, I am, wait, I am? That reminds me of that one episode on Fresh Prince when Will Smith says to Carlton, you're black. And Carlton goes, I am. I will always remember that because he said it like that. He's like, I am? At first, it starts out as disbelief. I can't possibly be I am. But the more you settle into it, you will realize that you are. You'll realize. And when you fully embrace that, well then, that's where the beauty unfolds, my friends. Well, let's get the bowl. Oh, Miss Asanya says it's the iOS updates. Well, it was somebody messing with my business.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the updates, but they're all look. I don't know. I just thought it would be an instantaneous update for all of them, but what do I know? I'm not a tech. I don't know these things. I understand these things because they must work by way of law, but I can't tell you anything else other than that. I got the bowl ready, y'all. Look at that little Robin Redbreast. She's preening her wings. Oh, ah, they're so cute. Countdown initiated. 4, 3, 2, 1. Miss Conversation. It's good to see you, dearest. Very good to see you. Thank you all for being here on this glorious day. I truly do appreciate you taking the time and spending it with me a little bit. And our 2 robin redbreasts. Mm-hmm. There aren't any magpies yet because you know who they are. They're noisy. But I do thank you for spending time with us today. I do always, always love and appreciate you. Go forth today and choose life. Choose life and all the things that blossom from life. Well, you get to experience them. Yes? Oh, I do love you. I'll see you tonight. I forget which one. It's the mystery of. I don't remember, but it's the mystery of something because that's what we're doing tonight for the lecture at 10:45 p.m. Listen, if you missed last night, the mystery of imagination. Oh my word. Dare I say you should check it out because it was fire. Yes. It was an incredible lecture. It was from 1969. Oh my word. Somebody was moved. I sure was. Right? Ah, what a brilliant, brilliant lecture. So tonight would be the mystery of, I don't remember what that one is, because last night was the mystery of imagination. I know the final mystery one is the mystery of forgiveness, but this one is the mystery of, and I don't remember. But I know if you come out to that one, whew, catch the replay of last night if you have time. It was mm, 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 mm. Yeah, the examples in it on point, absolutely amazing. So I trust that you're stimulated enough that you want to be a part of that tonight. 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, if you're still awake. If you're not awake, that's all right. You can catch the replay. Oh, you're driving from DC to Baltimore. Wow, viewing pleasure. Travel safely. But she says she's enjoying this live as she drives. Wow, that is awesome. Well, thank you, viewing pleasure. Wow, that is amazing. That's quite the trek. I mean, I don't know how far uh, DC is from DC to Maryland, because that's where Baltimore is. You see, your guys' states and their capitals have a very particular rhythm to them. They do. You know, Houston, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and like they just have this ring to them. Baltimore, Maryland, Crab Fest or Seafood Festival. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But enjoy the ride, dearest. The scenery. Oh, 33 miles. Here we go. We in miles now. We don't do miles in Canada. We do kilometers. We do kilometers, okay? So I don't know how much that would be, but we do kilometers around here. Um, yeah, it's amazing. Mm. Anywho, you know I love you. I look forward to seeing you tonight if you're available. If not, the replay is always there for you. As you do know, choose life. All right, y'all. Seriously, if this was my test, I would have failed. I would have gotten to work late. Anyhow, perhaps tomorrow I'll be better. and finish in such a time that that I can go and get everything done that I need to do and get out the door. We'll see. We'll see what he says today when he calls. All right, but I'll keep you posted, you know. Much love to each and every one of you. Much, much, much love. Hold on, fan base. I'll be right there. You know, we always stay on fan base a little bit longer. You know, to just kick it because it's an audio room, you know. So if you're curious, you can download fan base and pop into that room that we do every day. Morning inspiration. It's up to you if you want to. You don't have to. Because Lord knows how I feel sometimes about another app, you know? I'm like, oh, I need one more. You don't have to. Whatever platform you're happiest on, you stay there. That's fine. Right? Love you. Twitter is closed.